Today is the first day of Ramadan. So we can safely assume that before the fasting started this morning, the moon was sighted at some point in the course of the night.
And it was announced by the Sultan.
Yes. Ramadan is considered one of the holiest months of the year in Islam. In Ramadan, Muslims commemorate the revelation of the Quran and fast from food and drink during the sunlit hours as a means of drawing themselves closer to God and cultivating self-control, gratitude, and compassion for the less fortunate. Ramadan is a month of intense spiritual rejuvenation, which is a heightened focus on devotion, during which Muslims spend extra time reading the Quran and performing special prayers. Those unable to fast, such as pregnant women, nursing mothers, the sick, or the elderly and children, are exempt. It's okay for these categories not to fast. Well, to tell us more about Ramadan, we have the founder of IRFAN Astronomy Academy and Secretary, National Moon Sighting Committee, Mr. Nuruddin Ibrahim. Or is it Alaji?
Anyone you mention is fine.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. You can also mention Dr. Nuruddin Ibrahim.
See?
Because I'm a medical biochemist.
While she's writing.
Okay.
When does... there are those who are wondering whether, I mean, it is one of the things that Alera actually asked you. So, the moon was sighted?
Yes. Okay. Before you start the fasting, it is a must that you need to sight the moon.
But you have to expect it. You have to anticipate that, okay, that is likely to happen.
Yes, that is sure.
Okay.
So you keep looking out for it.
Yes, because it's you know, even before the advent of technology, before the advent of time, people were used to the natural bodies, especially to determine time and some other things. For example, the sunrise is something that you can see. What is written behind the sunrise? So sunrise is something that is particular to humans. It signifies something that is very important. It also signifies time. So because the sun is a celestial body and it has its own roles, it has its functions in helping our people to live their daily life. So also the moon also has a specific purpose that it serves. So usually the new crescent appears once in a month and it signifies a new lunar month. So Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar. And before you start any new month, you need to expect the new crescent. So the new crescent comes with happiness, comes with delight, signifying that you are now in a new month.
I like the fact that you mentioned technology the other time. So there are those who would want, whether the clock itself is technology.
Yes, it is.
At the time that they came out.
Yes.
So there are those who are wondering whether moonlighting should still be, or is still as important as it was in the days of yore, given that we are now more technologically advanced.
Yes, because that is the traditional system, and there are some spiritual benefits that are attached to it. In the Islamic law, it is said that whatever that is required for you to embark upon an obligatory act in Islam is also a necessity. So Ramadan is the 4th pillar of Islam. It is a must. For you to be a Muslim, it means that you have to also observe the fast of Ramadan, provided you do not fall into the exempted categories. So, because Ramadan is very obligatory, you can't say you're a Muslim, you won't fast. It is a must. So, whatever that will facilitate the fasting, the starting of the month is a necessity. and that is sighting the new crescent, and it is attached to it that where you go and sight the new crescent, or you go out and search for it, there is spiritual benefits that is attached to it. So
you are the founder of the IRFAN Astronomy Academy.
Yes.
You are an astronomer.
Not a professional astronomer.
Okay. But you founded an academy.
Yes, because there is
that is into that.
Yeah.
So is there no technology that can be used to sight the moon, or give you an idea of when the moon, the new crescent, is expected?
We are in the age of technology, and we have advanced technology in doing that. And you know, for you to also manage the technology to do that, that means you are also searching. For example, there is the astronomical telescope for you that will facilitate even if the moon is far away. I call it crescent because in Islam we differentiate between crescent and moon.
Okay.
Moon is different from crescent. So we search for the new crescent, not the new moon. The new moon is invisible. So the telescope, astronomical telescope, is a technology. And also today we have software. We have other technological advancements that have been introduced that you can even predict when the new crescent will appear for this year, for next year, for 20 years to come, for 30 years to come, just as we've adopted technology in our daily prayers. As Muslims, we perform obligatory prayers 5 times daily. And at the beginning, the first prayer is you have to wait till dawn. And that was during the past. You need to wait till dawn. The dawn is characterized by some natural phenomena, the cold breeze, the cock, when the cock crow. So all those things are things that help us to know that, okay, it is time for dawn, that we need to pray. Then the sun, there is a position that the sun needs to be. Okay, let's say when the sun immediately crosses the zenith, that is known. So we pray during that time. So those are even at sunset, immediately it is sunset, we pray. Appearance of the twilight, you also pray at those times. But because of technology, we don't need to wait for all those periods, because there are software on the phones now that will give you the times for prayer for the whole year. So you already have them. So the technology has been used to solve that problem. And so also the same technology that has been used to predict solar eclipse, that has been used to predict lunar eclipse with accuracy for 2 years, for 10 years, for 20 years, can also predict when the new moon, the new crescent, is going to appear.
So can I therefore conclude that based on this technology you have spoken about, you can actually give us the date when the crescent will appear for the next Ramadan?
Yes, it is possible, just that there are still challenges that have to do with theological challenges.
Okay.
There are theological challenges.
Okay.
Some people still believe, it has to do with education. You need to continue to educate people. You need to continue to enlighten them. It is not everybody that thinks technological the way we are thinking. So we still need to tell them that, okay, even introducing technology does not mean that we are going away from the theological basis.
Okay.
So we need to take it with ease. And because we are in Nigeria and there is a body that regulates the sighting of the new crescent, and also a body that regulates the announcement of the month of Ramadan, the body believes in the principle that you still have to go and search in the traditional way, and it is not easy for us to change that principle for now. So the National Moon Sighting Committee is still on the principle that as Muslims, instead of predicting when the new crescent is going to appear this year, next year, or years to come, they are on the principle that you need to, that the technology will only guide you to know when to go and search. And that is why it was announced that Friday, 28th of February, is the day to expect the visibility of the new crescent. So people should go out. It has been announced like 2 weeks before then. That is application of technology to an extent that on Friday, 28th of February, it is expected that the new crescent is going to appear immediately after sunset till like 7:30. So that is one application of technology. So they are using that partially, but they still believe in the traditional system that people need to go and search. Then when you search, you collate the results and you forward to the Sultan of Sokoto for him to announce.
Okay, let's go to the practice now.
Yes.
Do you think everyone knows the length and purpose of fasting?
Not everyone knows that, because you cannot know everything. But an average Muslim has the knowledge of the fundamentals of Islam.
Maybe we should put better, average Muslim should have.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So, for those who don't know,
yes.
tell us what's the length
and
the purpose.
Thank you. You know, as Muslims, even if you were not a Muslim before, the very first day you decide to become a Muslim, they introduce you to what is the pillars of Islam. So they tell you about the pillars of Islam. That is the first thing you are going to learn. And the first pillar is faith. That is, you need to believe that there is only one God, who is the creator and the originator of everything in the universe. So that is the first pillar. And the second pillar is to observe the 5 daily prayers. Even if you've not started, they will tell you that. Then you start learning. And the third pillar has to do with zakat. What is zakat? Zakat is a system introduced by Islam in the Quran in order to empower the less privileged. It is about empowerment, that is supporting people financially and focusing more on humanity. So that is the third pillar, very essential. So all the pillars are essential. And the fourth one is fasting in the month of Ramadan. So the orientation is there. While the fifth one is going for pilgrimage, for those who think they have the means. So that one is not general. So only for those, for selected people who think they have the means. So as Muslim, you need to know about the fasting of Ramadan, and they have to give you the orientation that the fasting of Ramadan is not by choice. It is something that is compulsory. You must observe the fast of Ramadan.
How long is Ramadan?
Yeah, very good. Ramadan is a month, and a month in Islam is either 29 days or 30 days because of the lunar cycle. So there is something called lunation. So the moon revolves in 29.5 days.
Okay.
So the 29.5 days.
5.
Yes. So the 29.5 days at the end of the day, sometimes because of the point, sometimes you have 29 days, sometimes you have 30 days.
Okay.
Do people, it's compulsory?
Yes, it is compulsory.
But then do people know the purpose? And here is why. Alera said while opening the other time, there is a time that people are supposed to use the period to draw closer to God, cultivate self-control, cultivate gratitude, cultivate compassion, particularly for the less fortunate. If these are the purposes, you must wonder why it seems like we complain about the same thing around the clock every year.
I don't understand that.
Okay. There are people who are going to, as in all faiths,
yes.
There are people who are going to, fast and draw closer to God. But it will seem like as soon as we are done, we're back to where we were before we started in the first place.
Yeah, that is true.
Is there a way to review the benefits of the previous one before we go into the...
Yes, fasting is just for 29-30 days, and the purpose, as stated in the Quran, is for the fasting Muslims to attain the level of piety. In Islam, the Muslims are grouped into three. There is a first level, which is known, when they say you are a Muslim, that is the first level. It has to do with spiritual upliftment, spiritual development. So the first stage is for you to be a Muslim, and that is why you can see some Muslims, they call themselves Muslims, but they still engage in things that are not ethical, in things that are not befitting. They still do things that are not okay. Some still discriminate. So we have that. That's the first level. The second level is when you are called a mu'min. So a mu'min means that somebody that has attained higher level of spirituality. So you have to be careful of whatever you do. You won't want to misrepresent Islam. You won't want to represent being a Muslim. So the mu'min are different from the Muslims. So though we say have the general name Muslims. Then the third level is for you to attain that level of piety, which is muhsin. And that is what the piety, that is the objective, so that it can make you conquer the evil thought in you. Because in Islam, there is, when we talk about spirituality, spirituality is not something that reflects in physical appearance. Because God himself, according to the prophet, said that he doesn't look at the physical appearance. He doesn't look at the body, the outwardness. It is the inwardness that matters. It looks at your mind. So what is in your mind is what you are going to judge. You are going to be judged with. And the fasting is for development of the mind, to make you a better person.
And then by extension, be a better person in the society. In the society.
Okay, that is what the fasting is all about. Okay. But because we are also in a war environment, that is, we are fighting, there is a force that is also fighting us, struggling with us within the society. When we go out after the month of Ramadan, the spirituality will start declining, will start falling. And before you know, somebody that has been very active, been very good in the month of Ramadan, you see that person starts changing in his good acts. But before the next Ramadan, before 9 months, or after like 12 months, another Ramadan will come. It is like a training ground for the spirituality, for the mind, to train you to become a better person. So that is the purpose of Ramadan.
Is there any food, for instance, that one cannot eat, a Muslim cannot eat during Ramadan?
Well, any food that you cannot eat outside Ramadan, you cannot eat that food in Ramadan. For example, as Muslims, alcohol is prohibited. It is not debatable. It is something that we don't take. In the Quran, it is specifically prohibited for us as Muslims to take as alcohol, as well as pork. So we don't take pork, we don't take alcohol. But any other food that falls within the permissible food, we can take.
Okay. Can a stranger, for instance, bring a Muslim food to break their fast?
That is humanity that Islam emphasizes. So a stranger can do that. And in Ramadan, we do that a lot. We call that iftar program, that we organize ourselves. It can be done by an individual who buy food or prepare food and start giving to people, those we know, those we don't know. So we do that a lot. And in fact,
no, I'm talking about the other way around. You don't give, you are given.
Yeah, that person too is another person, not necessarily me. So I am giving. Because I can give, another person can also give me.
You.
Yes, so that is one. Okay. And because of the kind of society that we are now, that we are trying to promote religious freedom, religious harmony. We have Christian groups that are also doing that. Some may do that maybe once in the 30 days. Some do that every week. They get food and they distribute to Muslims. So we won't say because they are not Muslims, we won't accept from them. So long as the food is fine, we accept and we eat. So it is something that is good for us to do.
Why is it that many Muslims during Ramadan like to invite people? They don't like to break their fast alone. So breaking the fast is like a big ceremony. They cook a lot of food.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people coming in to break the fast with them.
Yes, I said earlier that Islam pays more emphasis on humanity, on supporting other people. Whatever that you do that is for humanity is actually what is called jihad in Islam. So jihad doesn't mean battle, it doesn't mean war. Whatever that you do to support others as form of humanity is what is actually called jihad. And there are so many benefits, there are so many rewards in it. Because in Islam, we believe in salvation. So the purpose of what we do, everything we do in Islam is about salvation. And the salvation in Islam is for you to attain a better place in afterlife. So the salvation is actually in the afterlife. So we all believe in that hereafter, the salvation in the hereafter, where you end up in heaven and not hell. And for you to go to hell is very easy. To end up in heaven enjoying the salvation is not easy, because Almighty God talks about two scales in the Quran, that every one of us, we have two scales. There is one scale on the left side. If the scale on the left side is heavy, it means that you've actually done more evil than good. So if that left scale outweighs the right scale, it means that you've done more evil, you've gone into ritual, you've defrauded people, you've done a lot of evil things, you've cheated people. So that is the left scale. While the scale on the right is for you to deposit good deeds. So if the right scale outweighs the left scale, that means you are attaining salvation, you are going to get salvation, you end up in heaven. So all those things that they do in Ramadan, organize iftar, is for them to get more reward, to fill up the scale on the right side.
You know, when you said, you know, it's about jihad, the first question, I'm just, thank you, by the way, for saying that.
Thank you so much.
Because some people will think that jihad is fighting.
Yes.
No. Carrying wars and all those things. No. But when you say that, you know, feeding people is...
Jihad.
Jihad is a good thing. So a form of jihad. So all of that time, I would assume that it is feeding people who cannot afford it.
Yes, you know, it has to do with levels.
Okay. So when former President Buhari, for instance, was inviting politicians, governors, and all of those things, is that also jihad?
It is a form. That is called feasts. What they are doing is not actually the type of iftar we are doing. That is feast. It's a form of jihad. So whatever you do, if you organize iftar either in the form of feast, you can invite your friends. You can yes, it is called iftar. You can invite your friends. You can invite your family members, depending, no matter their status.
Even though they can afford it
themselves.
Yeah. Let's not even.
That is actually to promote friendship, to promote brotherhood. So that is one level. So you still get reward for that, though your reward may not be as looking for the poor, looking for the less privileged, looking for the needy, those who cannot afford any. That is the greatest jihad that you can do. And if you do that in Ramadan, you get more reward. So as Muslims, you don't only do iftar program in Ramadan. We call it iftar because iftar means breaking fast. So
how do you spell that?
IFTAR. So iftar means breaking the fast. We also feed people outside Ramadan because people are hungry. Sometimes we decide to give out raw food. And outside Ramadan, we don't just focus on Muslims. I have an NGO, an Islamic NGO, and which is called IRFAN Welfare Foundation. And outside Ramadan, we feed people. We give out raw food. We don't want to know the religion you profess, either Muslim, either Christian, either traditionalist. We give to everybody. But because in Ramadan we believe that there are so many Muslims that are fasting that may not be able to afford the food in the morning, the food at night, so we decide to focus more on the Muslims in Ramadan. But outside Ramadan, the feeding is general.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, all we can say now is Ramadan Kareem.
Thank
Dr.
you so
Nuruddin
much.
Ibrahim,
Thank you
founder,
so much.
IRFAN Astronomy Academy and secretary of the National Moon Sighting Committee. The Moon Sighting Committee, by the way, is a subcommittee of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr.
And the president
Nuruddin
is the Sultan
Ibrahim.
of Sokoto. The president of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs is the Sultan of Sokoto.
Thank you very much
While
for that
the
piece
vice
of
president
information.
is from the south here, Alhaj Abdurazak Oladejo. So this president from the north, the vice president from the south. Thank you so much.
Dr. Nuruddin Ibrahim. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.